yeah, he's a danger, and I will stand up to him and Kevin McCarthy and Jim Jordan and any of those MAGA enablers of his in the Congress. The reason why our democracy is in trouble is because folks don't have the courage to stand up when they need to.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sir?
We're going to keep moving.
Let me just vote my name.
All right. Real quick.
Sir, you lied to 300 million people. You can't take that back.
Okay, we're going to keep moving.
You know, if every single liberal on the planet, even half of them, if half of the world's liberals could form thoughts even half as well as Bill Maher, can you imagine how beautiful this world would be? I mean, follow me. You know, I know you guys probably aren't Bill Maher fans, but if even half of the world's liberals were as reasonable as Bill Maher, kids would be safe, migrants would be safe, a truck with a Trump bumper sticker would be safe. I mean, it would be such a different world, we wouldn't even recognize it. And Bill Maher, truthfully, man, aside from nearly debilitating Trump derangement syndrome, is usually pretty spot on. And as far as media is concerned, he's a pretty great guy. You know, he's just a guy, I believe, whose party has completely abandoned him. And he hasn't come to terms with that. He hasn't figured that out quite like he needs to. But you'd think, you know, surrounding yourself with such a collection of woke, degenerate dirtbags like Stephen A. Smith, Seth MacFarlane, and freaking Adam Schiff would shake some sense into you. But here we are. It doesn't. And this is the result right here. And apparently Stephen A., poetic waxer that he is, felt the need to wax poetic at the last great protector of our democracy.
Is this. I respect the fact that you don't share my pessimism. I truly do. I understand where you're coming from. But I think that's part of the problem. I think the Democratic Party should share my pessimism. I think they should be on high alert. I think they need to treat him with the seriousness that it deserves, because you having a lot of faith in the American people. The man did get over 74 million votes. You've got people that are looking at Joe Biden. I'm not going to call him a cognitive mess or anything like that. That's very disrespectful. I would never speak about our president that way. But when you're 82 years of age, it's not offensive to say you're no longer a spring chicken and you don't seem to have the level of five and the energy that you want to have. And so you take that into consideration. You can't ignore the fact that this man is a threat.
Oh, make no mistake. I take him as serious as a heart attack.
Okay.
I'm optimistic, but we're going to have to fight tooth and nail. And one of the biggest obstacles we're going to have to overcome is all the efforts to prevent people from voting.
Okay.
We're going to have to turn out our people.
Yeah, I don't know which one of them muttered the word fair, but nothing about that is fair. I mean, all those people sitting there, not one of them could possibly point to any legislation or any effort from either side to stop people from voting. It is such a bogus narrative that no one even digs into. They just believe it. But you know what? That's actually probably not true. I think about it. Democrats, the world's last great hope for democracy themselves, they stop people from voting all the time. You know, they're on their third presidential primary season rigged in a row. They made New Hampshire a meaningless primary because they're just too white, basically. And they've taken all candidates not named Joe Biden off the ballot in both Florida and North Carolina, I believe, so far. So, and that's not even mentioning what they're doing regarding Trump and ballots. So I guess we do have to worry about a right to vote. But I just wish that somebody would ask one of these people, when they make these outlandish claims, you know, you say they've made it tougher to vote. How? Can you just tell me how? Because they can't.
We're going to have to work like never before. We're going to have to work like our democracy is on the line, because it damn well is.
Right.
I take this as serious as a heart attack.
I'll just interject one thing into this discussion about Trump that we've been having all night. It was a question I was going to ask you. We ran out of time.
Sure.
The Atlantic put out an article last year, and it was called "Separating Sports by Sex Doesn't Make Sense."
Right.
And talked about how we separate sports like the WNBA and just because it's just socialization. This is insane.
I agree.
Okay. That's why people vote for Trump. Because there's stuff like that on the left that people just go, I know Trump's horrible, but separating by sports by sex makes perfect sense. And if you think it doesn't, you can't leave the country.
But that's cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Okay. I'm just giving you the answer to the question you're asking all night long. Why do they vote for Donald Trump? It's not always because they like him. No, it's because stuff like that.
You know, Bill, he's right. I mean, but the problem, I think, is I'm not sure how many votes for Trump or votes against Joe this crazy woke revolution would really result in, because to me it seems like fewer and fewer people every day are even aware of most of the things these lunatic fringe are even doing, because they're not made aware. I mean, just look at the gender topic alone. I really don't talk about it too much on YouTube, but I will say this. I believe there are horrible things being done under the guise of trusting the experts. And right under our noses, it's become basically a $2.1 billion, in my view, very, very predatory industry. And most people have no idea what is happening or where it's happening, because the left will tell you that anything you think is happening is just some sort of conspiracy theory. And then you dig up figures, you dig through all kinds of noise and you find actual proof, and they'll tell you, no, that's really just anecdotal. And, that's just so rare, they'll say there's no point in even talking about it. It's so rare. As if the welfare of only a few kids, even if it's just one, as if the welfare of one child doesn't rate to talk about because it's just one. That's ridiculous to me. They take the same approach to voter fraud. They'll gaslight you and tell you that it's not happening. And then you prove to them that, yeah, it's happening. It's been happening for years and years and years. And then they'll say, well, yeah, okay, maybe that happened, but that's so minor. No point in talking about it, and certainly no point in going through all the work and all the effort to stop it. So what they're saying is, we'll worry about our next way to gaslight you if the problem ever grows, which it will. All problems do. But they get away with it. They always get away with it because they own the information. They completely own the narrative. They own people's thoughts.
This thing we take for granted now, that the journalist who did the work gets to have their piece put on the same shelf as everyone else's spur-of-the-moment bullshit.
You seem to trust journalists more than I do.
I trust certain journalists, yeah.
Yeah, I do. Certain ones I do.
Yeah.
Not a lot. And
Not a lot?
no. And everything I read, whatever source, it's only half the truth. They print the narrative. They don't print truth.
That's a generalization, though.
Well, it is,
really?
but it's because it's generally true.
Really? But this is...
They print the side of the story.
By the way, that's exactly what Donald Trump wants. What you just said is exactly what he wants.
It doesn't matter.
Don't trust the reporters.
Okay.
Don't trust the journalists.
Well, Hitler was a vegetarian. Doesn't mean I'm like Donald Trump.
That is trust the experts insanity to the nth degree from Seth MacFarlane. I mean, you don't trust the journalists? You have to trust the journalists. If you don't trust the journalists, you got to trust everything they tell you, or you're falling right into the hands of Donald Trump. That's exactly what he wants, says the guy who believes, I assume, that Donald Trump is a convicted sex offender and leader of a violent insurrection that almost stole away democracy forever. And he believes this, of course, because he trusts the faceless, nameless, soulless experts. And honestly, man, that's just crazy. And it's depressing when you look at it. But I really can't figure out how in the hell Bill Maher can subject himself to these topics and these people and not only stay true to himself, but how does he not just leave them and come to the only side that makes sense for a guy who can still critically think? I mean, does he not realize he truly is the last remaining self-identifying Democrat who can still form his own unapologetic thought? But anyway, God bless the guy for putting himself through that, through that kind of torture. Hopefully he's changing some hearts and minds along the way, but it's crazy. I couldn't do it. But that's just my take, guys. Let me know yours in the comments. And if you haven't already, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.